Another edition of Issues in Focus. Yes, it's Issues in Focus, and in 10 or less minutes, I am going to be talking about what are my top hot issues, political hot issues of the week. Surprisingly, it remains Sonia Sotomayor as nominee for the Supreme Court. Yes, President Obama last week introduced to us Judge Sonia Sotomayor of New York to be his next selection for the Supreme Court. He pointed out, and has a resume bears out, she was born in New York, lived in public housing, got a scholarship to Princeton, later graduated second in her class, summa cum laude, Phi Kappa Alpha, and then moved on to Yale, where she was the editor of the Yale Law Journal. I mentioned that to say that she has a stellar educational background. Her experience, litigator, prosecutor, trial and appellate judge, among other things. And he, after having met her, thought she was a great candidate. After I read the several pieces that I did on her, listened to her on C-SPAN, thank you again C-SPAN, at her acceptance speech, I must admit tears came to my eyes, only because I suppose I could identify with her somehow. I went to a university myself. I knew what it was to try to work hard. I knew what it is to try to get to the place where you can say, finally, I have accomplished my goals. And it would seem that Ms. Judge Sotomayor has accomplished her goal. To me, this was an American story, one that should be narrated over and over again to different audiences, because it's about what the right would call lifting yourself up by your own bootstraps. But surprisingly, yes, surprisingly, what I've been hearing from the right, instead of my hearing cheers, I'm hearing jeers, vitriol, racist, names that I just cannot believe. I mean, I'm asking myself, what am I missing in this story? I thought this person was good for the job. I don't want to say perfect, because none of us are perfect. So sure, there'll be glitches in her background. At one time in a conference, Latinas, she must have made a statement that she would hope, and I emphasize, she would hope that as a Latina woman, she would be able to make a decision in terms of what she has done better than a white man that has not lived her life. I'm just trying to praise the old thing. And whether or not apparently that has soured the right in terms of who she are. And as I said, the Rush Limbaughs and the Newt Gingriches all week have been calling for her to step down, saying that she should not be confirmed because she is a racist, and President Obama and his administration are, in short, racist themselves. I am quite surprised, because number one, from a political perspective, it doesn't make any sense for the GOP to be going after Ms. Sotomayor in the way they are. It makes no sense. The Hispanics are voted mostly with the Republicans. From what I know, they need the Hispanic vote to make a comeback whenever time they think they are ready to make that comeback. And you have Rush and Newt this week out there in the loudest of voices as the titular heads of the GOP, just about saying the worst thing that I could expect from a party that expects to speak to the nation, yes, through different voices, but these have been so negative, I am quite surprised. But on the contrary, and I say on the contrary, two top Republicans have come to say this is not the case. There is John Sessions, who is a ranking Republican in the Senate, and there is Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who came forth, with some sense to say this is not the case. Sonia Sotomayor is not a racist. She's smart, she's capable, and they believe she is a good nominee to become our next justice. They have shown some common sense here and some rational, because it said nobody expects a candidate to be perfect. I have listened to the hearings of Justice Thomas. I have listened to the hearings of Samuel Alito, when they were being tested for the job, so to speak. And President Bush talked about the empathy from Clarence Thomas. Alito talked about his recognition of personal factors in terms of who people are and what they've accomplished. And, you know, because the word empathy that the president has used in his introduction of Sonia Sotomayor, I think that is what is throwing everybody off, because he talks about empathy, and all of a sudden they're saying we don't want an activist judge. But Alito is on the bench. I don't see him as an activist judge. Clarence Thomas is on the Supreme Court. He's not considered an activist judge. So what is this all about? Our inspector was on, I think, CNN earlier today, and he said we have to probably acknowledge it's about race. It's about ethnicity. Is it about sex? Is it about gender? I don't know. But our inspector said he thinks that even in 2009, this could be about race, because apparently he himself, although he switched from a Republican to the Democrats, cannot understand what this is all about. And if that were the case, you know, I shouldn't be surprised, but I say, my gosh, the more things have changed, the more they have remained the same. And to the Hispanics, all I can say is, apparently we are yet to arrive, because all of us who have worked hard, who believe in the American way, in the American dream, our goal is to be a part of, and in time, with hard work, take on jobs of responsibility in a way that we consider colorblind. It would appear we have some way to go, but for this week, the hot top issue for me was the GOP and the attacks on Judge Sonia Sotomayor. This is going to be it, because, as I said, we understand fully that 10 minutes go very, very fast, and I want for you to know that. Check me out on my blog at vernasmith.com, vernasmith.com. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing your comments. Thank you again. Bye-bye.